It's 4:20 somewhere, and right now that somewhere is right here. So hello and welcome to the Cannabis Show. I'm producer Vince, and here's your host, Ricardo Baca.
Producer Vince.
What's up, man?
Thank you for that, Vince, and to everybody joining us today. Welcome to the Cannabist Show, where we talk about all things weed.
That's all things.
That is hashtag all things weed, and that is the serious marijuana news and the fun stuff as well. In fact, if you pop onto our site right now, that's thecannabist.co, you can read stories about a rollover car accident in Montana that threw 35 pounds of marijuana onto the highway.
I'm never behind those accidents.
About the downside of plummeting cannabis prices.
There's the downside.
And about a Colorado shooting that happened during a botched marijuana sale.
There's nothing funny about that, bro.
Nothing, no. There's, Producer Vince, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. It's what? It's early May, late May, June. I don't know what month it is anymore, but we're into that grind now, and I am finally getting going. I'm ready for ski season. I feel like it's right around the corner, and I'm getting pumped and ready for it, dude. How are you doing, Ricardo?
You know, seriously, I love the Broncos news, this post-draft space that we're in. It's like, wait a minute, are we almost in Broncos season? No, we're not.
It's always Broncos season.
Well, in Denver, technically, but I'm actually ready to not have my Sundays completely occupied and ready to get up to the mountains, man. It is the season for that action, so that's what I'm looking at, yeah. Cool. But Vince, I have one question for you, and that is, are you ready for the week in weed?
Sorry, I suddenly know how they all feel during the pop quiz. That's a hard question, but I think I can handle this week in weed, bro. Let's do it.
Dude, okay. We are starting this week in weed in Colorado, where we are reporting on what might very well be the world's first wrongful death lawsuit against the marijuana industry. This sad story starts in April 2014, right after Colorado's first legal pot sales started. And after buying some cannabis-infused edibles, Denver resident Richard Kirk allegedly shot and killed his 44-year-old wife, Christine. Now, Richard Kirk pled not guilty. Then he changed his plea to not guilty by reason of insanity. A blood test showed a low level of THC in his system, but no other drugs, and a new lawsuit filed against edibles company Gaia's Garden and pot shop Nutritional Elements says the businesses failed to warn customers about the bite-sized candy's potency and side effects.
This is such a sad and strange story already. This happened more than 2 years ago, but here's what the family's attorneys are saying. Quote, edibles themselves are not the evil. It is the failure to warn, the failure to properly dose, the failure to tell the consumer how to safely use edibles. That is the evil, end quote.
You know, and when they talk about the failure to warn, they're referencing the edibles label, which didn't then warn of any side effects such as, you know, hallucinations or paranoia. The state of Colorado has since changed the requirements for labels on edibles.
Yeah, when we asked a marijuana law professor what he thought of the lawsuit, he said Christine Kirk's sons likely have a very low probability of winning. Quote, we don't hold liquor stores responsible, and we don't hold vodka producers responsible for drunk drivers, end quote.
Exactly. It's going to be a fascinating lawsuit. Of course, you know, we're going to be following it at the Cannabist. But Vince, elsewhere in the week in weed, this is fun and strange, but scientists are reporting that a runner's high, that happy, invincible feeling you get when you're floating through the air at the peak of a workout, looks an awful lot like a marijuana high. Now, the runner's high has long been credited to substances called endorphins, but a new study challenges that notion and puts forth a different theory, and that's that the high could be due to a different substance called endocannabinoids.
I think I finally figured out how to finally get high on this show, dude. Working as hard as I can. No, but I get it. I mean, I always feel the exact same high both ways, and I've been trying to mix those. We've talked about it a lot on the show, working out and getting high. I recently moved closer to Cheeseman Park in town, and I'm doing a lot of loops on my bicycle trying to get myself ready to go riding with all the nut jobs out here in the newsroom who do it all summer, mountain to mountain when they ride the Rockies. And you know what? A little bit of weed beforehand starts off the high, gets me on the bike, and then afterwards I feel great for days, man. I get it.
You know, you're right. We have discussed it on the show before, and the human body has an endocannabinoid system just like the cannabis plant. So our endocannabinoids are like the body's own self-produced marijuana, and they impact a wide range of physiological processes, including appetite, pain, memory, definitely memory, and mood.
Here are the basics of this new study. Researchers put mice on a running wheel and found that they were less anxious and tolerated pain better after the run. Then they used drugs to block the animal's endocannabinoid system before another run, and the results were striking. The animals were as anxious and more sensitive to pain after running than they were before they ran.
You know, it does kind of make sense, because when you think about that great body high that you can get from, you know, whatever your dose is, you know, a half a joint or, you know, 10 milligrams of an edible, there is an undeniable similarity to that good feeling when you're swimming, when you're running, when you're doing anything, and you just hit that stride and you really do feel like you're floating. So I don't know. I believe it, but it'll be interesting to see as they're able to more isolate the endocannabinoids from the endorphins to really figure out what's going on and help us better understand our own bodies and better understand this plant.
At least there's no wall you have to break through to get to that high, or the marijuana high, dude. And this is what the researchers wrote in their report, which published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. That's very fancy sounding.
Very.
We, quote, "We thus show for the first time to our knowledge that cannabinoid receptors are crucial for the main aspects of a runner's high." End quote. And a stoner's high.
There you go. There you go, Vince. Dude, it is time to bring out our first guest. Very excited for this. He is a stand-up comedian. He lives in Denver, and he loves weed. Making his first appearance on the couch, please help me in welcoming Sam Tallent to the Cannabist Show. Sam Tallent.
Hey, America. Hey, all right. How are we?
Hey, man, I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm lovely. Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you. Hell yeah. You're shouting out to producer Eric over here.
Eric, my man.
Amy.
Good.
These guys don't get enough attention.
They don't. They need some respect. Hopefully they're all getting union hours right now.
We are a union shop.
Come on.
All right, Sam, you are a stand-up comedian.
Taft, Hartley me in.
We ask this to everybody on this couch. So, indica or sativa, where are you at?
Well, I think I'm more like the CBD versus high THC situation. I'm indica all day.
Okay.
Because I don't want to have a panic attack and wind up shooting my 45-year-old girlfriend like the guy in the lawsuit. So
Yeah.
I go indica because it keeps you nice and mellow. You're still high, but you're not like ready to like buy a bullet and, you know, rent a gun type thing. So yeah, I like to just keep it chill, man.
Rent a gun? Where can you rent a gun?
Well, probably
Probably
Pueblo.
Driving
you know?
range,
I bet
you know?
Thornton.
Yeah, Pueblo, maybe. Hey, man, I grew
There's
up
small
near
businesses. Yeah. You're a survivor. You don't have any juggalo tattoos.
Thornton. I know. How did I escape without those?
I don't know. No hatchet man for life.
Okay, so you're indica. Do you really like CBD? Is that something that you go out of your way to ingest?
It's my new thing, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got an ounce of very high CBD weed at home. I just smoke on all day because I'm trying to quit smoking cigarettes. And CBD helps people quit smoking cigarettes, says science.
Says science.
Yeah.
What about real life experience?
It's
Are you
going
finding
well. I'm huffing a lot more weed, but that's never a problem.
I have a buddy who has his CBD weed, and he always smokes it after a night of drinking.
Yeah, it's a killer hangover cure. I mean, I just like to smoke weed all day, but it doesn't really matter what it is. But I was a big sativa head for a very long time, and I started getting very anxious.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
can't have that.
Yeah, anxiety is no fun, especially, you know, hardcore, strong, potent, weed-driven anxiety.
Well, yeah, some of these like 27% THCs that they have on the market right now.
Yeah,
Oof.
like Ghost Train or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't smoke, so I only eat edibles, but you're familiar with edibles. I know this because I saw your stand-up act a couple nights ago, which we're going to talk about. But first, Sam, you're stand-up. You live here. You love weed. Does one have anything to do with the other, stand-up comedy and marijuana?
Sure. I mean, it's a lot easier to do stand-up when you're stoned, I think.
Is it?
Well, for me it is. I don't like to do stand-up unstoned. That's for sure. Yeah, straight up
Okay.
stand-up's like kind of
When was the last time you did sober stand-up?
2006, probably.
No way.
No, I don't know, man. Probably, yeah. I usually have weed. I'm usually stoned at least when I'm up there. But I'm stoned all the time, regardless of what I have to do, you know?
Sure.
Ask me how many quinceañeras I've been to unstoned.
Oh, yeah.
It would still be the same amount, you know?
0 unstoned.
Yeah.
At least 20 or 30.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they, like, definitely... I mean, obviously you have, like, a history of stoner stand-up, but I don't know. Like, the young people who go to stand-up shows these days are, like, more likely to be on Xanax than they are to be on, like, weed and stuff.
Even in Denver, you think?
I don't know, man. Like, the young, hip people that are out in America right now seem to be so medicated and just, like, dull. Like, in Colorado, people are stoned a lot, but, like, the hippest places in America, like Ames, Iowa, all the hipsters there are, like, you know, just on very placid downers and stuff like that.
I saw you tweeting about Ames, Iowa the other day. I think you were tweeting at Bill Burr or something about Iowa. What was going on there?
I was trying to talk him into come doing a show because he was in town. We got Ron White to come do a show because Josh
cool.
Blue, you know, also a huge stoner. That guy loves weed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm with Ron White. Can we come over and do the show? And he did. And then we were trying to get Bill Burr to come in. He didn't come.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we couldn't bribe him with dope.
Well, tell me this. I mean, you prefer stand-up. You prefer performing when you're high. But do you think it makes you a better stand-up from the perspective of writing material, from the perspective of being a performer?
I'm probably the wrong guy to ask about writing because I don't like write jokes so much as I like have an idea and then I take it to the stage and try and hammer it into something coherent that I can repeat.
Oh, really?
But as far as like doing, like I like to riff, I like to do crowd work, I like to be in the moment as much as possible and stay away from my jokes because if you do like an hour every night over and over and over again, your jokes get real tiresome to you and they don't have that same pop they did when they were new. So I feel like, yeah, being high on stage is cool because it puts me more in the moment, gives me a bit more empathy, makes me sillier for sure. And there's a difference between being like blasted out of your skull on weed, you know, like doing a bunch of like knife hits over the stove before they announce your name and just like smoking a joint a couple 20 minutes out, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so yeah,
very big difference.
There's a huge difference, yeah, and I'm figuring that out because I've done the shows where I've, you know, taken 2 hash dabs on stage and that kind of thing, and it's fine, but I think it's more novelty based than anything else. You know, people are like, whoa, that guy didn't puke, and that's like half the fun for them. So yeah, I definitely think that weed enhances what I'm up to up there.
That's cool. I mean, for decades in art, whether we're talking about rock and roll or comedy or anything else, you know, artists really have utilized this to unlock a certain creativity that might not come naturally without it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally legit. And I also just think that people that are like artists, as you will, like think too much about a lot of things. And weed definitely helps me like not think as much or maybe feel as much. Because, you know, I definitely get hit by commercials that make me weep just out of nowhere. Like, I definitely have a lot of sympathy versus empathy. Okay. And I get, like, really moved easily, or I get, like, you know, really just kind of taken to that, like, sad place really easily. So I think that I use weed to, like, kind of dull that thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
My wife just she watched for her first time 6 Feet Under. Did you ever see that HBO show?
No.
It's a great show. It was done by Alan Ball, who did American Beauty.
Okay.
But what this show is known for is this series finale at the end of, I think, 6 or 7 seasons that will blow you away. It's one of the most moving pieces of art. It's an hour, but it just takes you down, and it's also just really sad. And so she was cruising through it. I watched it when it was happening, so I told her, I was like, once you get to the last episode, I'd love to watch it with you. I want to watch that series finale again. And one day she's like, all right, tonight. I was like, all right. So we both had 10 milligrams off a chocolate bar and then sat down and watched it, and we were ruined. We were absolutely crushed. I mean, it was a great idea because it does open you up. It does make you more empathetic to, you know, whether it's a crowd that you're working or maybe a TV show that you're just watching. But it was just such a strange experience to go there.
And I think it makes me more patient on stage. Like if someone's heckling me or being an asshole, I think I have a lot more patience with people than other comics do.
Oh, sure.
Where a lot of comics just want to like jump on this person like a savage dog, you know, and just go feral and rip out their throat. I kind of want to play with them more and like maybe humanize them a bit more to the audience and like see what the hell they're actually up to as opposed to just like ruining everything.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Novel. Well, I'm curious what you have to say about this because In Denver, from the outside the stand-up comedy scene, it seems like there is an undeniable connection, like a umbilical cord almost, between stand-up comedy and the cannabis industry. And I don't know if is that just Sexpot and Kayvon and Denver Relief being such supporters of stand-up comedy, or does it go further? Is there a legitimate connection between the two here in this stand-up culture?
I mean, Sexpot definitely. The analogy I like to use with Sexpot is like Kayvon, he's a good friend of mine, the guy who owns Denver Relief and Sexy Pizza.
Sure.
And he's done a lot for Denver comedy, you know, as far as bringing people in and maybe getting us paid a little more money, you know, or like getting our shows a little more coverage, or his magazine. He's done a lot of things. But he's definitely the guy who like found a circus and then just put a tent over the top of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there was all the freaks already down there. But like, so from above, it looks like it's Sexpot Comedy because you just see the tent. And underneath, there's a bunch of like weirdos actually doing all the work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like, I don't want to say anything negative about Sexpot because I've done a lot. But at the same time, like if our stand-up scene wasn't so legit and wasn't so just rock solid, then they wouldn't have a product that could put them on the map in the way that it has.
Oh yeah, without a scene, that parent organization wouldn't have anything or anybody to really create this, what's happened. So outside of that, do you think there is a legit connection between the two, the cannabis industry and the stand-up comedy scene, or is that just the way we see it because you know, through this filter of Sexpot producing shows and other people, you know, weed companies sponsoring comedy shows?
Sexpot's definitely like putting that lens on where they want people to see Denver comedy as like, you know, kind of an amalgam of Denver comedy and Sexpot Comedy being the same thing, like two rings intertwined. But I think that like comics, we smoke a lot of weed, we hang out with weirdos. Weirdos often grow weed. Weirdos that grow weed typically have a little bit more expendable income, and they're like, hey, I'll give back to you guys, or like, hey, do you want to come do this show that's like a roast of my friend, and I'll pay all three of you way too much money to just be an asshole to my friend. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity that comes from any entrepreneurial spirit, but I feel like for some reason we've been exposed a lot more to the upper echelon of pot people than if I've been exposed to the upper echelon of like Coca-Cola reps, you know what I mean?
Right,
like
or
that's
investment
just
bankers.
Yeah, that's just the industry that's opened itself up to what I do. And I'm definitely gonna like try and cash in, you know?
Absolutely.
There's free money out there, like why not take the free money? And
that makes sense, and I totally hear you on that. And that leads into my next question, because last time I saw you perform was on April 20th, 420, at the Oriental Theater in Denver, at a show that was being put on by Sexpot. You were not on the list of performers who were supposed to be going on that night, but you did because why? Why did you end up on that stage that night?
I was there hanging out and lurking because I knew that that green room was going to be stacked with just weed, you know, all kinds of weed. Oh my God. So yeah, there was edibles galore, the Incredibles. Thank you, Incredibles, if you're out there, for ruining my night that night. And then there was just dabs galore and all types of beverages with weed in them. So I knew that green room was going to be stacked. All my friends are there. I wanted to see Noah Garden Schwartz and like hang out with my buddy Dave Borey. So it was like my crew was there. So I'm just in there chilling, and then the Lucas brothers like have Aaron Urist find Andy Jewett because they're wide-eyed. They weren't talking to anyone, you know.
And the Lucas brothers were headlining.
They were supposed to headline this thing, and they had to leave. They had to go to the hotel. So no one there knew if the Lucas brothers were going to come back or if they were out for the night. So in efforts to stall and to stretch time, Andy Jewett asked me to go up and do like 12 minutes. Here's the thing. I ate like 700 milligrams of weed. I was blasting hash dabs in the back room with my buddy Jake Becker. Like I was getting as high as I could with Billy Wayne Davis, who also loves weed. Like we were going for it. It's 420. Let's inhale the sacrament. So luckily my head did not explode there on that show. I was able to keep it together, have some fun, goof around.
Yeah, it was a good set.
It was. Thank you. I was patted on the back by a lot of people in the weed industry, like way to handle your stuff, way to show what Coloradans can do. Because the Lucas brothers did not do that much drugs. You know what I mean? Or medicine, whatever you want to call it. It was 420. We were doing drugs. we were trying to get messed up, man. So yeah, they think they like took a dab maybe and like ate like 20 milligrams and they were smoking a little weed, but like we were going bonkers. Billy Wayne Davis is from Tennessee, man, and that guy was just taking dab after dab after dab. Like there was heroic feats of dope strength going on in that green room, and I'm not trying to say that they aren't, you know, made of the same cloth that we all are, but they definitely came in and were shown the dark side of what can happen to someone who's maybe underprepared for what they were engaging in.
Well, yeah, and
I think they were just weak. Like, you're too high to do stand-up. Like, what the fuck are you... I'm sorry, can I swear? What the hell are you talking about? You're too high to do stand-up. That's insane.
And
like, go up there and be too high. It's 420. The people will be like, yeah, these guys are from out of town. We messed them up too much. Like, they can have ownership and that the fact that they're too stoned. Like, it would have been good. The show would have been fine either way. The only thing that would have been said is like, yeah, they were pretty high, but it was 420 in Denver.
Right.
Like, what's to be expected? But instead, they got all this negative PR and like had to go do, you know, kind of a weak show the following night at Mutiny.
I know, that was too bad. I was looking forward to seeing him that night, and you know, Jake Brown, our one of our cannabis critics.
Great guy. He was there. He was there feeding me drugs.
That sounds like
yeah,
him.
dude.
I was there, but not in the green room. I was out in the audience. But yeah, I know it was disappointing. Jake's piece with the Lucas brothers the next day was pretty hilarious. Hearing them say, "Yeah, we don't believe in God, but after Colorado weed, experiencing Colorado weed, we absolutely believe in Jesus Christ."
It's so weird because weed really helped put the nail in the coffin of that Christ thing for me. I was like, no, weed
You're
rules.
like, atheism?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Like, what? Why would he be pissed at me for huffing grass? Yeah, man, that was a fun night.
Awesome.
But I did have a show after that, my weekly show, Too Much Fun, that I had to leave. I walked up to good friends of mine because I had to drive, you know.
Too much fun at the deer
Sorry,
pile,
everyone. Yeah, but I had to drive from the Oriental to my show, and like my vision was just like melting. Like it was just blurring to the sides. I was pulling over, also just cackling at the same time. Like, this is terrible, like laughing and that like death rattle laughter. But I got to the show, and yeah, I was just walking up to my friends like, look, I'm very good at asking for help when I need it, and right now I need help. And I just like grabbed them by the shoulders. Yeah, and they made me go home because I was too high and I was freaking everyone out. I was just like sweaty, like 300 pounds, 6'5", sweaty, bug-eyed in the corner.
Oh my God,
it was a wild
dude.
scene, man.
Well, Sam Tallent, tell our viewers, our listeners, where they can find you on Twitter and as well as your weekly show at the Deer Pile.
Yeah, the Deer Pile show, Wednesdays, above City City, 10:30. Fine Gentlemen's Club presents Too Much Fun, 5 years running. Best free show in Denver, like 3 years running. And then I'm at Tallent Sam, Tallent on Twitter, at Sam Tallent on Instagram, because I got too high and forgot my Twitter login. And then yeah, samtallent.com for all your needs.
Sweet, man. Well, we're gonna talk a little bit more soon, but in the meanwhile,
hey, thanks
for joining us on the Cannabis. This is fun having you. On to our next segment, where I will throw to our very own wizard of weed, not Sam Tallent, but Professor Pat, for this week's entry in the new Cannabist lexicon.
Grinders. Generally made of metal and containing multiple pieces, these are used to break up marijuana by threshing it between the teeth attached to the top and bottom, opposed to using your hands, preventing all of the sticky icky from ending up on your fingers. High-end grinders contain a screen that allows keef to pass through, allowing you to collect it and top your bowl off. For example, to hear that in a sentence, I need to clean my grinder after 420. We probably put a whole ounce through the poor thing.
Thank you for that, Professor Pat. On to our next guest, who is also making his first appearance on the show. He makes and sells marijuana-infused edibles in Colorado, but he'll soon be expanding to other states. It's my pleasure to welcome Skip Meador to the Cannabis Show. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Skip Meador? Okay, cool, good.
Okay.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, heck yeah, man. So, Skip,
Yes.
indica or sativa?
I love an indica, man. I'm there with Sam.
Two indica
CBD
men.
side. Just a little bit to go to bed is perfect.
Oh yeah, nice.
Absolutely.
Is that primarily your cannabis use for sleep, or?
It is.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Nice. Skip, your product is Marqaha. Your last name, your brand name, I'm having a hard time pronouncing all of them apparently, but Marqaha, is that right?
That's it.
Okay, cool. So you guys are releasing a new product line this summer. We were talking about it earlier, and you told me that about 6 years of R&D went into this new product line. Of course, that's research and development, and, you know, let's be real. R&D in the cannabis, in the edible cannabis industry. That sounds kind of fun, but I'm guessing it was a lot of work as well. But tell us about the line.
Sign me up.
I know, right? R&D.
We got our guinea pig right here. We'll change cards. Yeah.
You know, tell us about that work of R&D and the fun as well, but also the new line. Let's hear about that as well.
So R&D, it's all about making a product that is really good, well thought out, is going to help as many people as possible. You know, we look at retail sales and medical sales really as the same. It's therapeutic. So if it's a good product and it works, then we're happy, right?
And so that R&D is primarily trying your own product or having a small group of people like Sam and your friends who can try it and giving you feedback, or what?
Yeah, so this one in particular, it's a topical line that we're coming out with.
Oh, sure.
And this is going to land mid-June, end of June.
Cool.
So it's much different than making, say, a beverage.
Very
you know,
much so.
topicals, you're going after primarily pain relief for us. We're going to come out with a topical line as well that's focused on just relaxation. And it's a much different animal. So the ingredients that you throw into a topical line is everything from chamomile to black seed, right? So it's these ingredients that made up well with cannabis, more than cannabis, especially with a topical.
And are you looking at lotions, salves, balms? What are we looking at? Oils?
So we have 2 lotions coming out and 2 gels coming out.
Oh, gels. Huh. And what's the application of the gels? How does that differ from the lotions then?
Yeah, so the gels are more picture like a tiger balm almost, but it's a lotion. It's more like a camphor based, a menthol based. You're going to feel it a lot more. Right?
Oh, cool.
So a gel just has absorption of some of the ingredients better than, say, the lotion.
Oh,
so
nice.
it just mates up with those ingredients a lot better.
Well, you also have a new product on shelves now.
We do.
I want to hear more about this. It's a marijuana-infused cold brew coffee shot.
Ooh. Yes.
You know, why coffee? Why cold brew? Why a shot? You know, why this? It sounds wonderful, but why?
Yeah. So we came out 2010, and we had really the first, as far as we know, the first cannabis shot out in the market. So we did it early on. Everything's gotten smaller since then, so we focused a lot on these 2-ounce beverages, these flask line. So coffee, we're based in Boulder. Everybody loves their coffee. Cannabis and coffee, they go hand in hand.
They do. It's a wake and bake tradition, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
For us, we wanted to go deeper than just getting coffee and mating it with cannabis. So we went to a really good coffee shop in Boulder called Ozo Coffee and collaborated with them. So we're all about researching ingredients. Has to be really good ingredients for us to engage with. So it's more than, again, just cannabis. We want the whole package to be beautiful.
Oh, nice.
So Ozo made it up with us. We tested I don't know how many roasts that they created and just found that right mix, and we were off to the races. Right.
What was the process of finding the right mix? I mean, was it taste? Was it effect or caffeine percentage? Or
it wasn't caffeine as much. It was taste. You know, some of the roasts are darker than others, more acidic than others. We wanted to find the right one that worked well with the CO2 oil.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Okay. And is that primary how you guys extract the THC and different cannabinoids?
That's it.
Okay. Very cool. Well, I'm looking forward to trying that, man.
Yeah, and that's on the heels. We took a second place at High Times with a blueberry chamomile.
Oh, congratulations on that. I saw that. Yeah.
Thank you.
In what category was that?
That was in edibles.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were between a first place and a third place chocolate. I mean, chocolates are awesome. Good luck.
I know, right?
So we were happy to get our second there. Blueberry chamomile is an indica one, which I was really happy with.
And a blueberry chamomile tea?
Tea. Yep, it's a juice and tea
Sure.
based. So everything we do is juice based, tea based, coffee based, not carbonated. Everything's all natural, agave sweetened. You know, that's our approach from the
I
beginning.
dig it. Well, speaking of all natural, you and I were talking earlier. You guys have always made a priority of whole plant extract. You know, for years since the beginning of this line. You were saying so. Maybe our viewers and our listeners know that better as the entourage effect, which is a more trendy name, especially in the last year or two. But tell me why you're a believer in this whole plant entourage effect, and why you think that is, you know, not only the way you want to run your business, but the future of how maybe we use this plant in the future.
Yeah. cannabis has been used medicinally for thousands of years. It's the whole plant, right? So you look back in time and you see how people are engaging with it globally. It's always been the whole plant. There's been better extraction methods going on now that can refine the terpene levels, the THC levels, CBD levels, but it's always been about the whole plant.
And when you say the whole plant, you're talking about flower, bud, you're talking about fan leaves, you're trim, everything?
Primarily the flowers, but when you get into the entourage effect, it gets down to preserving the terpenes, you know, everything from terpenes to chlorophyll, CBD levels, THC levels of the plant, trying to represent the plant that you're extracting as much as possible.
Sure.
And then cleaning that up so it works well within the product, right?
That makes sense. And so when you are extracting from the plant to make Marqaha products, is it full bud that you're actually putting through the extraction process?
Typically is. Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep. So we control our own grow. We know where the plant come from, how it's grown. We know those genetics. That's where it all starts. It all starts with the garden.
And can you maybe talk about how that might differ from other edibles companies? I know many edibles companies, as we've talked about on this couch, are very much trim-based and oftentimes don't have their own cultivation facilities, and so they're purchasing trim from others, and it's a different product.
Yeah. First, it's what type of product you want to produce. So if you're going to make a chocolate bar, for example, or a gummy, it's much harder to represent the whole plant in there and have it just taste good, right? So we design the product based on a whole plant extract that, you know, maybe it's not going to be the best tasting if you try and put it into a chocolate bar, but it's perfect when you put it into a beverage.
Oh, sure.
Right? So we design the products to absorb the whole plant as much as possible.
All right.
So it's really that philosophy that's guided us.
That's interesting. I like the philosophy. I like it. I want to bring Sam back into the mix.
Sorry, I inhaled coffee and then just lost my mind over here.
Hey, man.
But I'm back.
No, it happens.
Oof,
you
boy.
almost went Lucas Brothers on us. I'm
I
like,
did.
I don't know if he's coming back.
I went rogue. I almost wiped out that village. It was bad. We're back.
Have you
Good work,
started
Skip.
believing in
Sam.
Jesus Christ yet? Or?
No.
Okay.
Ganesh, y'all.
Just wanted to check. Okay, you're more Ganesh
I
and
went
Krishna.
Hindu. Yeah.
All right, so Sam, let's start with you. I want to hear both of your take on this, but especially because you guys are very familiar with the world of edible marijuana.
Yep.
As I am too. But I want each of you guys, imagine some noob is approaching you and saying, I am eating my first edible tonight, and if you have one piece of advice to share with me, what is it? One piece of advice. Sam, let's start with you. What is that?
Skip, you're a professional and you work in the industry, so I imagine that we might have different advice. But my advice would be to honestly try and get high off the weed you're going to eat. Don't eat like 5 milligrams. Like, don't eat 10. If it says eat 10, eat 20. Like, get high. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I ate like 5. Like, we split like a 10 milligram. Me and my buddy got a 20 bar and we split it, and I can't tell if we got high or not. Like, get high. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, so many people, they waste that first time, like trying to pussyfoot a little bit, trying to figure out the fine line, because I know there's a fine line. This is very much a real psychoactive substance.
Right.
But at the same time, like, you're eating it not to wonder if you're high. You know what I mean? You're eating it to be like, oh yeah, cannabis rules. I'm gonna do this more often. That'd be my advice.
You want to tell people to go Lucas Brothers?
Take your shoes off, take your pants off, hop in the pool. All right, we're not just putting our toes in. Like, let's get wet. That's what I'm saying.
I definitely think you guys might have different
I would.
advice here.
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, that's interesting. The state recommended dose for a single serving size of edible cannabis is, of course, 10 milligrams.
10.
So,
So do you have a beer? No, you don't have a
well,
beer.
some people do.
You do if you're, trying to improve your life in that direction, I guess. But no, have a couple beers. Have a couple nibbles. That's all I'm saying.
All right, that's Sam Tallent's advice. Skip,
I
where
also
are you
have
at?
smoke, weed, worship Satan tattooed on my body, though. So
You do?
I'm not the best person to take any
Let's
kind of
see
life
it.
advice
Oh, we
from.
gotta
All
see
right?
this.
Yeah, right there.
I have
It's my
no
freshest
tattoos
tattoo
to show right now.
Well,
I've got nothing.
you also own a successful business. I sleep in a beanbag chair. All right, so
Oh, that sounds.
yeah, there's
that sounds
differences
very
of
comfortable.
lifestyle here, Skip.
All right, that's good to know. Now that we know your tattoo, Skip, what's your thoughts on this?
You know, whatever edible it is, you want to have an experience that you can recreate and know what you're getting into, right?
Sure.
And, you know, there's the state side that's brought in testing. There's some great companies out there that are really stepping that up. So for the industry as a whole, there's just better products coming online. It makes it a safer product to
and more
engage
consistent
with.
products.
More consistent. You know what you're getting. You know, you go in January and buy it, and you come back in December. You know, for that winter vacation.
Right.
It's going to be the same product, the same experience. So I think first and foremost, to have something that you want to have fun with. You know, if it's on the retail side or if it's medical, both of those situations make it something that you can control, right? If you choose to go, you know, on the dark side of the moon, like my buddy Sam here, you know that you're going to go 10x with that, right? But you're going to be able to go on the dark side of the moon every time because you have something that you can recreate.
Right.
And as a consumer, I very much appreciate that they've gotten better at knowing exactly how many milligrams are in those things. Because sometimes you get that Chiba Chew and you eat it, and you're like, oh, this is 4.5 Chiba Chews. Like, this ruined my afternoon. I have to call into the rest of the shift at work type thing, you know?
Oh, it's
so,
true.
Yeah, I'm glad they've figured out how to do it the right way, because for a while there, it was anyone's game.
You know, in early 2014, I tested 10 different edibles brands and published all of the results. We tested them for potency, saying, all right, the label said 100 milligrams, and this is actually how much was in there. And it was fascinating. We replicated that same study the following year and saw that every brand, almost every brand, got significantly better at getting closer to that point of, yeah, this is supposed to be a 100 milligram chocolate bar. This is a 100 milligram drink, and getting closer to that desired amount. That's insanely important, especially because the first time we did that, we showed that one edible manufacturer in Colorado was flat out ripping off their customers. A brand called Dr. J's only had
the Dr. J's?
Not the Dr. J from like B-ball, but a different Dr.
He
J
lost
in
his
Colorado.
accreditation.
They had like 0.2, 0.3 total milligrams of activated THC in a product that was supposed to have 100. So that's 1/500th of what was supposed to be in there. And it could be potentially dangerous if you have that and say, oh, I can take 100 milligrams, and then you go to a different, more reputable product and find that, oh, okay, that's what 100 milligrams feels like. And
Yeah, or you're trying
to
to stomach, you know, the new Avengers Civil War movie, and you eat that thing, and then you get in there halfway through, and you're like, this is garbage. That weed was bunk.
Right.
You know, you don't want to be in that situation
You don't
either.
want to watch that movie sober.
No.
Absolutely not. Well, especially because we have wild man Sam Tallent on the couch. I do have to throw this out, just in the name of, like, you know, we're a Denver Post product.
Yeah.
Sam says go overboard. I will have to throw out that if I was giving it advice, I think that start low, go slow is a good place to be. And I'll be the boring journalist, Sam.
Sure,
I'm okay
hey.
with that. But
Get your P-buddy on this one.
I know. I think that, like, that 5 milligram place on your first time is a really smart place to start.
Yeah.
And then at least you know what 5 milligrams feels like to make the decision on, oh, maybe I do want to go 10, maybe I do want to go 20.
Well, the thing about edibles that's great is, with this, you can recreate the dose so precise, right? And there's different ways of absorbing. So if you're going to do a sublingual spray, the absorption is going to be quicker to that of, say, smoking.
Right.
Or if you eat, say, a cupcake, it's going to take longer to get into your system.
Wait,
right?
that spray is quicker than smoking weed?
It's up there because you're getting into the bloodstream about the same rate as you are when you inhale.
This is
right?
important information.
So same as a beverage. You leave it in your mouth a bit, you let absorption occur right there.
Okay.
You're going to fill it a lot quicker.
Damn, dog.
I've heard that, and I've tried that. I've never been able to quite replicate that. If I'm using like a tincture or a drink, it's oftentimes somewhat similar to like a chocolate bar or something, at least from my very limited experience.
You just have all these different ways of interacting with cannabis when you get into the edible space as a whole. I mean, you can absorb it sublingually, in the cheek, in the stomach.
Do they have an eyedropper yet?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure if there's cannabis, everything's been done with cannabis, even if it's not out there.
Medicated Visine is what you're looking for right now?
Yeah.
If there's
You've got a
weed
guinea pig
lube,
right here. Yeah.
lady-centric weed lube, there's probably
It's out there,
in the
dude.
pipeline.
Yeah.
I drank some of that weed lube recently. It was bad. It was a bad move.
It's fully drinkable.
Yeah, I know, but it gave me a tummy ache.
Oh,
was
it did?
gross. Yeah, this one wasn't like
man.
made of.
Did you get in touch with your feminine side?
Yeah, I'm very much in touch with my feminine side all the time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, it's time for the pot quiz.
Yes.
All
We're
right.
going to throw
We
this
studied
out.
for this. You got
Oh,
this. Skip.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, you studied?
Yeah.
Okay.
I made flashcards.
All right, let's do it.
Sam, we are starting with you, and if
Okay.
you get the answer incorrect, Skip can steal it,
All right, Skip.
vice versa.
All right.
This one's for the kids.
Sam, U.S. Congressman Earl Blumenauer spoke
True.
about cannabis legalization at Stanford University recently. What state does Blumenauer represent?
Say it's California?
It's a good guess.
Yes.
But no.
Count it.
Skip for the steal.
Blumenauer, the guy
man.
with the fake name.
Earl Blumenauer, definitely a fake name.
Yeah. Man, I would say Washington.
Also a good guess. And oddly, you guys did the sandwich to the state that Blumenauer reps.
Oregon.
Connecticut.
One of you was right.
Now, if you would ask me about the bloomin' onion, then we could have talked.
Man, is the bloomin' onion still a thing?
Yeah, man. What? Where have
It
you
never
been?
went out of style.
Apparently
Yeah.
not at the Outback
Yeah, dude.
Steakhouse.
They'll welcome you out back with open arms.
Oh man, those things are dangerously delicious and just like a pile of grease on a plate. Oh man. I wish I didn't know that it was still a thing, Sam. So
Sorry, man.
Skip, your question.
Okay,
No
Skip.
points so far. But Skip, what popular British neo-soul singer said recently, quote, "It's an injustice that we don't talk about marijuana properly in Britain."
Wow. Britain. You're ringing us over the pond.
She is a neo-soul singer. So there's that.
Neo soul
What
singer.
do you think?
Neo soul singer.
Meaning
You
new
feeling
soul,
this? Feeling
modern
new
soul.
I think I have it, man, but
Yeah?
I want you to take your stab.
Oh man. Pink.
Pink. Why not
Great
throw
guess.
out Pink?
Yeah.
No, though. Not Pink. Sam.
I gotta say Adele, man.
That's a good guess, too. but
What are you
no,
doing to us? It's not Adele?
right.
Yes.
No,
What?
it's
Is it
somebody
Robin Thicke?
No, I don't think Robin Thicke
I don't know
is
who that is.
British.
That's another person.
Yeah, he's a dude.
I'm not hip
And
with
American.
contemporary music.
or is he Canadian? Wasn't Alan Thicke Canadian?
Oh crap! How
Yes.
deep does this
I don't
rabbit hole
know.
go?
Family ties. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on Growing Pains.
Growing pains with
Which is what we're having in this pop quiz.
Yes. Yes.
Seriously, Family Ties was Michael Gross. He played the family father.
Unfortunate
Alan
last
Thicke.
name.
Alan Thicke.
Gross. Grody. Okay, back to Sam for the pot quiz.
What was the answer?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Joss Stone.
Ah!
Joss Stone.
What?
Stone.
She's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Should
All
look
We'll
her
have
up.
to
all
take
right.
your word for it.
Way better than Alan Thicke's son. We'll just leave it
Okay.
at that. So
No date
Sam,
rape anthems, apparently.
the executive chairman of Canadian grocery giant Loblaw,
Oh, blah, blah.
said recently. I can't even say Loblaw with a straight face because it takes me to like Arrested Development with Bob Loblaw. And
Yeah.
Is their gas station Wawa?
oh my God, I know, right? Okay, so Sam, this is for you. The executive chairman of this Canadian grocery
This
giant called
unfortunately
Loblaw
named.
said recently that he supports marijuana being sold in what type of stores? This is a store, but it's a specific type of store. So,
I have to say pharmacy.
ding! Well
Yes.
done,
Yes.
Sam.
Where else would they sell it besides like a boot outlet?
Good go.
know,
Good
right?
go.
Hey, you nailed it. That's good
right.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, Loblaw, I think, not that I've ever been in one, has pharmacies and drugstores as a
Been it.
part of its chain, and this is big because they're like, what's the local equivalent, like Walgreens or CVS
Well, I
or
don't know.
something.
I was in
Yeah.
Vegas a couple days ago, and they have those green, the green health, the plus signs
Yeah,
on
the
the
crosses.
pharmacies. Yeah, the green crosses. What happened to my brain? The green crosses, and it's like, oh man, can I buy weed there? And it's not. It's just in a green cross, and it sucks.
Oh man, did you go in and ask at least?
I know, but because I don't have a card.
Oh,
but
sure,
I
sure.
did like ask my
Okay.
buddy, like, can we buy weed there? Couldn't buy weed there.
For future knowledge, Nevada has the most liberal policy
They
for
are, they're
reciprocity
reciprocal, yeah.
for
Mhm.
medical marijuana cards. So, okay, Sam's got a point. Skip.
Oh, man.
Here is your opportunity, and this is right up your alley. So recreational pot shoppers in Oregon will have access to edibles in the retail shops in what month? A, June, B, July, C, August, D, September.
June.
There you go. We have a tie in the pot quiz, gentlemen. 1-1. Well done. You guys knocked that out of the park.
We tied. That's it. That's
You
it.
tied in
That's
the pot
it.
quiz.
It's a hockey game in the
there's
90s.
no confetti falling?
No, the blooming onion is being delivered as we speak. It'll be show up just in time for the credits to roll. But Skip, Sam, I so appreciate you guys joining us on the Cannabist. Thank you. And most importantly, thank you to you all for watching and listening to Cannabist Show. If you're listening to us on the podcast, please click subscribe and also leave us a review. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't. But reviews definitely matter. So thank you for that. I'm Ricardo Baca, joined by producers Vince, Eric, and Melissa. Thanks for joining us at the Cannabist. We'll see you next week.
I'm allowed to lose, I choose to win. I'm all in, I'm calling any posse you'll be raising at the end. I say it again, ain't afraid to get in. I be going for the jackpot with aces in my hand, I'm raw.